Have you ever felt like just a few stairs in your own home make your heart pound, your legs feel shaky, forcing you to stop midway to regain your balance? The stairs haven't changed, but your legs have. Your knees aren't as steady, your thighs tire faster, and it feels like every step you lift requires whole body effort. There was a time when climbing 2 flights of stairs was effortless, but now, even getting up from a chair requires momentum. Has anyone else experienced that feeling? Many people think, this means I'm really old now. But if it's truly just age, then why do some people over 70 still climb stairs regularly every morning? What's different about them? The answer might lie in very small things, so small they can only be seen with a blood test. There are substances in your body that were abundant when you were young, but over the years they gradually deplete without being replenished. And when they're lacking, your legs are the first to speak up. If you're feeling weaker, your legs are shaking, and your steps aren't as steady, don't be so quick to blame age, because sometimes it's a silent cry for help from your legs, waiting to be refueled with what your body has lost. This video will mention 3 types of vitamins, not because their names are special, but because their role in supporting your legs is far more underrated than it should be. Each type will be presented in the order the body needs for the simplest movements: standing up, walking, and climbing. The first type helps your muscles have enough energy to power every step. The second keeps your brain and feet coordinating smoothly. And the last type, often overlooked, is the key factor in the strength of your thigh muscles, which bear the most load every time you climb stairs. Here's the important thing. If you're lacking any of these 3, you might still eat normally, and your general blood tests might appear fine, but each step will slow down, and you won't understand why. We'll explore each vitamin with relatable real-life examples, evidence from major research, and practical application methods for people over 50. If you want to understand why your legs are weakening and what you can do to regain stability, the most important information lies in the next few minutes. Are you ready? Let's start right away with the first vitamin, B1, the one that keeps your legs from stalling out mid-stride. Try to recall a recent morning. When you just got up from a chair, did your calves feel heavy, like they were weighted down with lead? Did your legs tire after just a few steps? Your hips feel a slight drag? And did you even feel like you couldn't get started? Some people describe it as, it's like my body ran out of battery. Sound familiar? Have you ever felt like you're eating enough and not severely lacking sleep? But when you need to walk, your muscles just seize up, as if you've lost your power source? The truth is, that's a kind of mild stall, literally. And vitamin B1 is the spark plug for your muscle engine every time you need to move. Without it, your muscles can't start properly, and even strong legs become sluggish, tire easily, and lose momentum quickly. So why does the body need to spark every time you take a step? And what role does B1 play in that? This is where we'll explain it in simple terms. No biology knowledge needed, just the experience of feeling tired after walking. Muscles don't just work on their own. For each muscle fiber to contract, lift, balance, and move forward, the body needs a special form of energy, and that energy must be converted from food. But that conversion process doesn't happen automatically. It's like having a full tank of gas, but your car won't start without a spark plug. Vitamin B1 plays exactly that role. It's the starting switch for the process of transforming sugars and starches from food into real energy that your muscles can use. Without B1, the sugar just sits there, unable to enter the system, and your muscles gradually tire, slow down, as if you're walking through thick mud. Older adults in the US are more prone to B1 deficiency than younger people, for several reasons. Many have been taking diuretics for years, which causes the body to excrete B1 faster. Others have a less diverse diet, eating too much refined white bread and refined grains, and not enough beans or lean meat, which are natural sources of B1. You might not notice it, but even a small lack of vitamin B1 will cause your legs to react first. Your legs get tired after just a few steps. They go numb if you stand for too long. You feel wobbly when you stand up from sitting, as if you haven't eaten anything. And then that feeling becomes so familiar that many people just assume, I'm weak because of my age. But sometimes your body is just missing a simple tool, the spark plug, to convert food into real energy. In clinical practice, many internists and geriatricians in the US have encountered cases where patients complain of leg fatigue, loss of strength, and easy falls, but without any clear neurological damage or muscle disease. And when blood tests don't reveal any issues, they start asking, could the body be lacking fundamental metabolic factors? A clinical survey at elderly care centers in the US showed that people taking long-term diuretics, especially furosemide, have a significantly higher risk of B1 deficiency. This is not surprising, as these medications help the body excrete salt and water, but they also lead to the loss of water-soluble vitamins, including thiamine, vitamin B1. And it doesn't stop at surveys. A 2024 systematic review published on Science Direct compiled studies on vitamin B1 supplementation for older adults with symptoms of fatigue, muscle weakness, and impaired motor function. The results showed that when supplemented with 100 milligrams of vitamin B1 daily for 4 to 12 weeks, patients not only significantly improved their muscle fatigue, but also increased their walking distance and endurance when climbing stairs. Additionally, some studies in heart failure patients also found that B1 supplementation helps increase blood pumping strength, reduces shortness of breath, and improves exercise function, especially in those who have had monotonous diets for many years or have absorption disorders. It's noteworthy that these improvements don't require strong medications or complex interventions, just the right dose of the vitamin, consistently, and at the right time. If you're wondering, should I supplement with vitamin B1? The answer lies in how your body feels every day. No complex tests needed. Just observe yourself. Are your legs tiring faster than before? Do you often have to stop midway up the stairs to catch your breath? Do you find it takes more effort to stand up from a chair? In such cases, supplementing with oral B1 is a simple, safe, and scientifically sound approach. The dose used in reputable clinical studies is about 50 to 100 milligrams daily, maintained consistently for 4 to 12 weeks. This dose has been shown to help restore muscle fatigue, increase walking ability, and help older adults regain endurance in their legs. Vitamin B1 is water-soluble, so any excess is excreted through urine, which means it doesn't accumulate in the body like some other vitamins. However, please note, if you are receiving inpatient treatment, intravenous fluids, or B1 injections as prescribed, the intravenous dose needs to be monitored, as administering it too quickly can cause a temporary drop in blood pressure. At home, if you're taking it orally, you can choose a separate B1 tablet or a B-complex vitamin formulation, as long as the B1 content is within the recommended range. Taking it in the morning after a meal will help your body absorb it better without causing irritation. And a point often overlooked, B1 works best when the body is also sufficiently supplied with protein and other essential minerals. If you only take B1 but your diet still lacks lean meat, nuts or beans, or your body doesn't get light daily activity, then the effectiveness will be limited. Supplementing correctly, but also combining it smartly, that's the only way for vitamins to not just stay in a pill, but truly integrate into your daily life. Each vitamin B1 pill, though small, can reawaken the strength your legs seem to have lost. It's not magic, it's just your body, after years of silent depletion, now being given the necessary spark to run smoothly again. Some people are surprised after taking B1. Why don't I get tired walking to the mailbox anymore? Or, now I can stand up from the chair without holding on. Such small changes sometimes come very quietly, but enough to remind you, your body still has the ability to recover, if given the right fuel. But energy alone isn't enough. No matter how strong your muscles are, if your nervous system doesn't transmit the correct commands, your legs can still step unevenly, stumble, or lose balance unexpectedly. Sometimes getting up isn't due to muscle weakness, but because your brain and feet aren't connecting properly, and that's when we need the second character in this journey, vitamin B12. Not for energy, but to keep the nerve pathways to each toe working smoothly and precisely. We'll continue right after this, Have you ever felt your legs walking, but you're not sure if you're stepping correctly? That feeling of your legs being light as air, no pain, no weakness, but something just feels off. Each step is a little wobbly, a little less confident, as if your head isn't communicating with your feet. Have you ever had to look down to check where your feet were? If so, the cause might not be in your muscles, not because of weakness, not because of loss of strength, but because your nerves aren't transmitting signals correctly, like a leaky electrical wire or insulation that's worn down. Vitamin B12 is what creates that important protective sheath, the thing that keeps all the control signals from your brain to your legs smooth, precise, and safe. And when it's lacking, your legs can start to go astray, even if your muscles are still strong enough. So why is the body prone to B12 deficiency? And why does a lack of this vitamin change your gait even before any test warns you? In the body, every movement, even just a slight lift of your toe, begins with a signal transmitted from the brain. That signal travels along the nervous system like electricity in a cable. But just as electrical wires need a protective casing to prevent leaks, nerves also need a special insulating layer called the myelin sheath. And vitamin B12 is the main ingredient your body uses to create this crucial protective layer. When there's enough B12, the signal wires from your brain to each muscle group in your legs work smoothly, quickly, and precisely. Your brain sends the command to step, and your feet understand correctly and coordinate seamlessly. You don't have to think, you just walk. But when B12 is deficient, that insulating layer starts to thin or even crack in some places. And what happens? Signals from the brain become weaker, slower, or go astray. Your body still wants to walk, but your feet react slowly, inaccurately, and even deceive your senses. You start to walk with a feeling of lack of confidence. Your gait widens to maintain balance, and you're more prone to tripping over small obstacles, something that never used to happen. Many people describe it as, "My legs don't feel weak, but I still feel prone to falling." If you've ever felt that way, imagine the nerves controlling your steps are like headphone wires with frayed plastic coating. You can still hear, but sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's static, and your legs are the same, still have strength, but starting to react incorrectly or slowly. B12 deficiency doesn't happen overnight. It progresses silently, sometimes over months or even years, especially in people with diets restricted in animal products, older adults with poor absorption, or those taking stomach acid reducers, metformin, or certain chronic medications. But the good news is, if detected and supplemented at the right time, those leaky nerve fibers can be completely restored, and your confidence in every step will return as before. In many geriatric clinics in the US, they are seeing an increasing number of older adults coming in not for pain or distinct numbness, but because something feels off with their legs. Some say they feel their feet have lost sensitivity, like wearing socks even when barefoot. Others describe it as, "I don't walk as steadily as before," even though they're still healthy, not dizzy, and don't have joint pain. And the interesting thing is, when tested, many of them have vitamin B12 levels below the optimal threshold. A large study from the Baltimore Longitudinal Study of Aging, one of the longest-running aging studies in the US, showed that people with B12 levels below recommended amounts had a faster decline in walking speed and twice the risk of slowed movement compared to the group with sufficient B12 levels. This occurred even when they had no obvious neurological symptoms. It doesn't stop there. A 2024 study of over 300 geriatric outpatients found that vitamin B12 deficiency was associated with unsteadiness, dizziness, and loss of balance, independent of other factors like low blood pressure, spinal degeneration, or diabetes. Even in clinical practice, many doctors note that when supplementing B12 for those with mild deficiency, many patients report feeling more confident when walking, and some even no longer need to hold on to stair railings, even though they haven't significantly changed their exercise or eating habits. Perhaps you're thinking, "I can still walk, I just stumble a little." But that is precisely the most subtle sign your body is sending, a gentle warning that nerve signals are starting to get noisy. And vitamin B12, if supplemented early, can help redo that insulation before things get worse. With all the evidence showing how silently vitamin B12 deficiency can disrupt the connection between your brain and feet, the next logical question is, how can you supplement correctly and safely before unsteady steps become a hard-to-break habit? The answer starts with a simple step, a blood test. If your B12 level is below 300 pg/ml, or if your doctor orders a test for holotranscobalamin, an active form of B12 transport, and the result is low, then it's time to start a supplementation regimen. Typically, for older adults without severe nerve damage, you can use sublingual tablets containing 1,000 micrograms, 1 milligrams, of vitamin B12 daily for about 4 to 8 weeks. After that, if your symptoms improve, your gait becomes less wobbly and your feet feel less numb or empty, you can switch to a maintenance dose of 500 micrograms day. Sublingual tablets are preferred because the digestive system in older adults gradually absorbs less B12 from food, especially if you're taking stomach acid blockers, metformin, or have a history of atrophic gastritis. However, if your doctor determines that you have severely poor absorption, such as due to intrinsic factor deficiency, Crohn's disease, post-gastric surgery, or a history of severe B12 deficiency, then a more effective option is direct B12 injections into the muscle. The usual dose is 1 milligrams per week for 1 month, then maintained at once a month. The good news is that vitamin B12 is extremely safe. Any excess will be flushed out by your body through urine. But a small note, you shouldn't use it as a standalone supplement long-term if your diet lacks leafy greens, because a folate deficiency can also cause similar symptoms to B12 deficiency. If your diet isn't varied enough, a multivitamin or a B-complex vitamin supplement might be a more stable choice. One final important note, for those with chronic kidney disease or who need to take high doses of B12 injections long-term, you should periodically monitor your potassium and creatinine levels to avoid electrolyte imbalances. This is especially crucial if you are on dialysis or have pre-existing kidney conditions. And if you're asking yourself, is it really necessary to take supplements if I don't have clear symptoms yet? The answer depends on this. Do you want to wait until your steps become completely unstable, or will you proactively prevent it early on? A small pill each day could be a proactive step far more valuable than letting the loss of control in each step become your new normal. With vitamin B12, people often think of memory and the central nervous system. But few realize that unexpected stumbles, a wobbly gait, or the feeling of your legs losing signal often stem from a very silent communication breakdown between your brain and the ground through your feet. B12 is like the insulating layer around those nerve fibers. When it wears away, your body no longer knows exactly where your feet are. So every step becomes a gamble. It might be fine, or you might stumble. But the good news is, this isn't an irreversible decline. If detected early and supplemented correctly, those electrical wires can be completely re-insulated. Once the nerve insulation is renewed, is that enough to help older adults confidently climb stairs? Not quite. Because there's something even more important that needs to be activated. That's the muscle engine. And without the key, that engine will remain idle, even if the wiring is clear. So, what is the real Tamnidi key that helps your thigh muscles unleash their strength, lift your entire body off the ground, and climb stairs without needing to hold on? That's vitamin D, a micronutrient that more than half of Americans over 60 are deficient in, without even knowing it. Are you ready to dive into the most important part? Let's explore it now. Our body is like a car, where the muscles are the engine, but to start it, you need a key. Vitamin D plays that role. It not only helps absorb calcium for bones, but also regulates the strength and speed of muscle fibers, especially the muscle groups around the hips and thighs. When you have enough vitamin D, your body activates muscle cells by helping to produce the necessary proteins for muscle contraction and extension. Let's put scientific names like myosin or troponin aside for a moment. Simply understand that without vitamin D, those muscle fibers won't be able to generate strong force, nor will they react quickly when you need to step up a high stair. That's why vitamin D deficiency leads to a condition doctors call proximal muscle weakness, the muscle group responsible for lifting your body when climbing stairs, standing up from a chair, or squatting. Without enough vitamin D, your body is like a car with a dead battery, not broken, but it can't run. In a 12-month randomized controlled trial, RCT, conducted on older adults aged 65 and above with mild vitamin D deficiency, around 18 to 30 ml in their blood, researchers gave one group 2,000 international units IU of vitamin D3 daily, combined with light exercise. The results were impressive. Leg muscle strength significantly improved, stair climbing time was faster, and even overall mobility scores increased considerably. That's not all. A recent scientific review published in 2024 compiled numerous studies on older adults. The general conclusion showed that when baseline vitamin D levels were low, combining exercise with vitamin D supplementation significantly reduced the time it took to climb 10 stairs, while also improving the SPPB score, an index that assesses mobility in older adults. In other words, when the vitamin D key is put back in, the muscle engine can start, and stairs are no longer an obstacle. So, if vitamin D acts as the key to activate your muscles, the next important question is, how do you use it correctly to open the right lock without breaking it? Before thinking about taking supplements, the first thing to do is to check if your body is truly deficient. The most accurate way is to get a blood test, specifically for 25-hydroxyvitamin D, abbreviated as 25-OHD. If this number is below 30 ml, then your body is in a state of mild to moderate deficiency, meaning the key is still there, but it's somewhere in the drawer and hasn't been used yet. When your results show a deficiency, most endocrinologists recommend starting with a dose of 1,000 to 2,000 international units, IU, daily, but don't take it on an empty stomach or with just plain water. Vitamin D is fat-soluble, so take it with a meal that contains healthy fats, such as a few slices of avocado, a boiled egg, or a piece of grilled salmon for lunch. Just a little fat is enough to help your body absorb it better. In more severe cases, for example, if your test results are below 15 ml, your doctor might prescribe a loading dose with a higher amount, about 50,000 IU per week for 8 weeks, then return to the daily maintenance dose mentioned above. Although the number might sound large, this is a standard treatment protocol that has been thoroughly researched, provided it's accompanied by medical supervision. But simply supplementing isn't enough. For vitamin D to truly play its role in starting up your muscles, it needs a place to work. Therefore, combine it with simple but effective exercises like standing up and sitting down from a chair without armrests, stepping onto a low platform, or practicing standing on one leg for a few seconds each day. These activities will help activate the muscles around your hips and thighs, which greatly need vitamin D, and make them more flexible. However, remember that vitamin D is not a miracle cure. Once blood levels reach 30 to 40 ml, continuing to supplement higher won't increase strength further, but could lead to excess, like overinflating a balloon that's already full. At that point, the risk of high calcium levels in the blood can appear, causing nausea, muscle weakness, or even kidney stones. Therefore, if you intend to take over 4,000 IU daily for a long time, recheck your blood after a few months, and it's best to ask your doctor first. People with a history of calcium kidney stones or parathyroid disorders also need to be especially cautious. With vitamin D, balance is strength, not too little but not too much. And then when everything is adjusted to the right dose, the right way, the magic can begin. Imagine a morning like any other, but this time when you get up from the sofa, you no longer need to grab the armrest. A gentle push from your thigh muscles is enough to get you standing, steady as if you'd never been weak. No wobbling, no more hesitation before the first stair. That's not magic. That's when the key called vitamin D is put into the right lock, and your body is ready to function as it used to. We've covered all three. Now it's time to look back at that journey and reinforce the most crucial points, not just for yourself, but to help family and friends, those over 60 who are struggling with every step in their own homes. Do you remember the last time you stopped midway up the stairs? Not because you were tired, but because your legs just didn't seem to listen. A little shaky, a little slow, and a vague feeling that something isn't right. We often blame age, but as you've seen, there are things smaller than age that affect the strength of your legs more than you think. Like a door that hasn't been opened in a long time, all it needs is the right key, and the hinges will be smooth again. And on this journey to restore your legs, we've found 3 small but extremely valuable keys. Vitamin B1, the spark plug of the energy system in your muscles. When it's deficient, every step becomes sluggish, like a car running out of gas. Supplementing B1 primes your muscles again, and you'll feel lighter after just a few weeks. Vitamin B12, the sophisticated sensor connecting your brain to your feet. It helps you step correctly, steadily, without that feeling of disorientation when you turn around or step backward. When you have enough B12, you naturally stand steadier without needing to hold on. Vitamin D, the switch that awakens the pulling power in your hips and thighs. Not just for bones, but for explosive strength. The thing that helps you stand up without holding on and climb stairs without hesitation. 3 vitamins, 3 different roles, but all meet at a common point. When deficient, you lose balance, both mechanically and in confidence. But when sufficient, you start to regain control, both in your steps and in your spirit. So, do you remember what surprised you most about those 3 vitamins? Was it realizing that numb feet aren't just from sitting too long? Or was it the moment you saw climbing stairs, no longer as a metaphor, but a real challenge? If so, remember, getting back to climbing stairs starts with that small daily vitamin spoon, and from taking the initiative to get a blood test, asking your doctor, or making a few small changes to your diet. You don't need to do everything at once, just one small adjustment each week, and you're laying each brick for a steady journey ahead. So what about you? Have you ever checked your vitamin D, B12 or B1 levels? Do you have a loved one who is experiencing gradually weakening legs but doesn't know the cause? If the answer is not yet, then today might be the day you start. Share this video with someone you care about, or leave a comment. Tell us, what stair in life have you struggled with? Who knows, your sharing might be the motivation for someone else to stand up again and keep stepping forward. We wish you, whether you're 60, 70 or 80 years old, always steady steps, one step at a time, with light feet and a hopeful spirit. We'll see you in the next videos as we rediscover the strength of our golden years.